Hello. Hi, this is Radiance Thompson and Alexis. She is a manifestation coach and retreat leader. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. And today we're going to be talking to you about embodying the frequency of faith while facing your fears in business and life. So go ahead, Alexis.
Hi, everybody. My name's Alexis. I am a master mindset and manifestation coach. I also do business coaching. I am a super big whiz at content strategy. And more importantly, I am a public speaker and a retreat leader.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I basically help women overcome blockages in their life, like fear is a huge blockage that we'll be getting into today. And I help them release those blockages so that they can manifest more money, more love, and more success into their life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Great to have you here. And as you guys probably know me, my name is Radiance Thompson. I help leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals overcome patterns of self-sabotage and self-sacrifice so they can harness their gifts and own their potential, live a life that feels good and, beautiful to live. Also while serving at their highest capacity without, once again, forgetting to fill their cup first. So today we're going to be talking to you about making sure that you embody the frequency of faith, especially when you're facing fears in your business. So I'd love to know how you, Alexis, have faced fears in your business and how you've been able to grow to the level that you are now, and what you've done to overcome any fears that at some point got in your way.
Yeah. Um, I have a really good way of having awareness of my fears. And so I feel like that is the first step is
Mm.
becoming aware of like, okay, what am I fearing? And that's like something that I bring my girls through my signature manifestation course. But it's like really just becoming aware of it, because how are you able to release the fear before you're aware of it? And that's half the battle, because a lot of people, they don't want to accept the fact that they do have the fear that they won't be able to afford something, or they won't be able to make something into what it is, or they won't be successful as a business owner, or they won't be a good partner or be able to manifest a good partner. And so instead of facing the fear and going after the things that they want, instead they will retreat and continue to tell themselves, I can't do this, I should do this, I can't, I won't, I can't afford. And they end up stuck in the fear of not being able to move on. So, I have a lot of different modalities for how I release fear, but I do like to like stem from it. So, getting to the root of the cause, like, why do I feel this way? You know what I mean? Like where did this root, like where did this come from? I recently, as you know, had something like very personal happen to me, where I was like basically having like my business being torn apart by somebody who I really, really loved,
Mm.
and other things happening in my family. And I really had to, I remember like this same person had also said something about my business like years ago that had also triggered me. And
Mm.
so it was like it was a hard fear for me to like keep selling my business in that moment, when people are like basically telling me that, I have a fear that I'm going to trigger people, like that I'm going to that they're going to unfollow me or something, because I talk a lot about money, because in manifestation we manifest money, right? And I need to release that fear, and every time I do, I like manifest so much more. Like I'll either get like a bigger following or an influx of DMs or something along the lines of that. But really,
Mhm.
like when it comes to releasing the fear, I like face it and I lean into it. So instead of saying, okay, I can't do this, I'm going to say, how can I do this?
Right,
And then get
right,
it.
right.
What about you?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because
Mhm.
And is it okay if I share some of your money wins with the
Of
audience?
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So if you don't know Alexis, she is a master goodness, manifester.
Manifestor. I say
She's
the
a
same
master, like,
thing.
but a master manifester, and she has manifested and created a multi six-figure business using energetic techniques. And it's just beautiful to see that it is possible for you to use energetics and healing and know that you can create a business that feels amazing and also be compensated for it and feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you're saying that those triggers still come up for you. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's important for people to know, because there's a lot of people that get stuck in like the always reaching for the six figures in their business, but never truly making that profit of
Mm-hmm.
getting to the six figures. And I feel like they think that once they get to that level, that those fears won't come up, those triggers won't come up, that it won't be as big of an issue once they get to that level. And here is someone that is at the multi six figure level that still has those things pop up. So
Exactly.
it's important for people to realize that it's not the achievements on the outside that will help you alleviate some of these fears and triggers. It's more about how you can embody that faith at different levels in your business, at different levels of financial income, at different levels of having a certain amount of clients in your container, or at different levels of having thousands of followers, or some people have hundreds of thousands of followers. Those fears just don't necessarily go away. So it's how you handle those fears at different levels in your life, and
Mm-hmm.
how you can continue to ascend and get to that next level.
Oh, absolutely. Because without fear, you don't have challenge. So
Mm,
you need fear. You need fear, one, to feel to be because fear keeps you in your comfort zone,
right.
but it also challenges you to get out of the fear and to step into something that where you start to believe that, okay, maybe this is possible for me, and then getting into the master mindset, which is where I'm at, where I know that it's inevitable for me.
Mm,
But yeah, I think that that's a really good point of you saying that that I'm bringing it up no matter where, where you're at in your business. Because I feel like, so 2023 is my first multi six figure year. And everybody, like, I couldn't even tell you, like, how, does it feel different? Like, it doesn't feel different because I do still have fears, because you're just, every time you make money or anytime you get to another level, like, you still have those things. But that's why we have self-development, and that's why we have spirituality and our faith to help us get through all of those failures and moments in order to move forward and
mhm,
succeed.
mhm, mhm. Yes. And for me, like when I have fears, I have had moments where my fears have been absolutely debilitating, where I can't move and I can't create. And then it becomes a whole bunch of evidence that keeps on confirming how I'm feeling. I'm starting to attract
Ooh,
more of those things. So for example, yeah, it's called brain confirmation bias in science, but in manifestation, it's you just manifesting what you believe and what you think, and those percolating belief systems over and over again. So for
yeah,
example, there's times where I have felt stuck in my business, where I feel like it's not moving, where I feel like I'm doing all of this work and nothing's happening, right? So then what does my brain start to look for? It starts to look for other times in my life where I had done a whole bunch of work and when I haven't gotten the results, or it starts to look at moments in my childhood where I put in a lot of effort and gotten nothing back, or it starts to go and search for relationships, right?
yeah,
Where you put in a whole bunch of your heart and your effort and your time and your energy, and you've gotten nothing back, or not what you thought.
yeah,
So super important when you do have these fears to make sure that you're not allowing your brain to run rampant,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, because
yeah,
your brain will literally start to say, okay, you're telling me you feel this way. How can I reinforce that feeling? How can I find ways to keep on fueling that feeling? And it can be absolutely addictive too, because
hmm,
now you're becoming addicted to, and it sucks to say this, but you almost become addicted to being the victim.
I
You
know.
become addicted to feeling bad for yourself. You become
Mm,
addicted to finding ways to make everybody the enemy and you the martyr, or you the person that continues to get stepped on. Like, you become addicted to that identity.
Mhm.
and then you start to fulfill it even more because
Yeah.
you now start to attract more of that in your life because that's the frequency that you're embodying. That's the vibration you're
Mhm.
the feeling, that you're embodying. So I feel like it's super important that when we do have fears more than anything, that we allow ourselves to, number one, feel it, like it's okay. Like one of the things I feel like too is that we try to avoid feeling the fear at all, but your fears are an emotion and your emotions deserve a place to exist, because if you allow that energy to really to move through you, then you're like, okay, I can become aware of how I feel and give that the attention that it needs. And then when you give it that attention, you're not repressing it. And then when you're not repressing it, it no longer has control over you.
Yeah. Yeah. That was beautifully said. That was. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um I felt a couple of times this year, I felt really stuck in my biz. I definitely did. And I had like a mastermind. Like I had a really bad situation happen in March, like that I had never experienced in my business, where basically I had a woman come on my mastermind retreat who was very unprepared and we'll say unprofessional to say the least.
Oh no.
And I had never had to deal with having to kick somebody out of my mastermind on a retreat before.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, because when you join up my mastermind, you get like coaching and then you go on a retreat. So we were on the
Yeah.
retreat. It's like to celebrate, the last 3 months of coaching and like scaling your business. And I just remember feeling like such a failure. And I ended up like feeling really stuck after that. I actually stopped my mastermind because I was like, I mean, that one was finished, but I decided not to open up a new retainer for it because I got stuck in
Mm.
the fear of like that happening again.
Yeah.
But what came from that was I actually started a lot of systems and processes this year, which was something that I was always nervous to do in my business, was to go like more on the evergreen side.
Yeah.
But I feel like this pushed me into it. Like sometimes we get
Mm.
pushed into the of leaning into the fear, and sometimes like that's when the beautiful magic happens, which I
Yeah.
love. Um, but yeah, I feel like when something happens, that's when we start to get stuck into the fear, like you said, and go down the rabbit hole of like, oh, then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. But
Right.
to be honest, and this is what I always say to my clients, like allow yourself to have the pity party for like a minute, but don't allow yourself to get stuck in it. Like feel the
Mhm.
feelings, but let's move on and like get over it. I allow myself like a day to be depressed or sad about something for sure,
Yes.
because I do want to feel that, but almost instantaneously I will raise my vibe, which is the that's my signature course program, because I called it Raise Your Vibe because I say raise your vibe all the time, because that's really what it is, right? We're like raising vibrations, and fear has a lot to do with that. You need to raise your vibration in order to bust through the fear, because how
Right.
are you going to be like a sad person and then also like get through your fear? Like no, first you have to like build that confidence and the mindset around busting through the fear, and like almost empower the fear to work in your favor.
I like that. Like using the fear to work in your favor. Like almost, it sounds a lot like alchemy,
Yeah.
allowing it to push you and
Yeah.
to mold you and transform you.
Yeah.
Um, and if you don't know what alchemy means, basically this means changing one thing, using an energy of one thing. So fear is an energy, and it is a
Mhm.
very powerful energy, and using it to create something.
Something
So
better or more positive.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I
Making
love
lemons
that
out
you
of
said that.
lemonade.
Hmm?
Making lemons out of lemonade.
Right,
I
right.
mean lemonade, right? How does it?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you know
it's
what I'm
right.
saying.
You're right. You said it
You know
right.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's amazing you said lemonade because I was actually thinking about Beyonce. And that's one of the things she says. Exactly. Exactly. She says she gives herself a day to feel bad for herself. And this is someone that is a megastar. This is someone that has been in the media, that's been present, that's
I
been
didn't know that
building
she did
herself.
that too.
Hmm?
That's always I didn't know that she did that too.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
That's fine.
Right. Someone that you see doing amazing things. So still in someone doing beautiful things, I think her net worth with her husband is about like over $1 billion. They're like at what, 1 billion, 2 billion, something like that. But even people at that level, they're still needing a day.
Mm-hmm.
So we often shame ourselves for like needing that time. I feel bad for myself too, and I need my time to feel this. And it's like, well, why do I feel this way? Shouldn't I be feeling better about myself? And there's that positive avoidance that sometimes is put into the industry as well, where we're not supposed to give ourselves that time to feel. We're not supposed to feel bad for ourselves. Change your thoughts immediately to something positive, or you're poisoning yourself. However, and there is some truth to that. However, if you don't give yourself that time and space, then that's also bypassing the fact that you feel that way in the first place.
Yeah.
And if you don't give yourself that time to feel that again, once again, it becomes repressed, and it comes out in different ways in your business. Perhaps it comes out in you resenting your business, or resenting the people you serve, or resenting your niche, or like it can come out in different ways where it's unhealthy now. So
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself that day like you
Like
did, and like beyond
physical, it can come out
fitness.
physically in your body
Yeah,
too,
right,
like
right. It can
suppressing
become
all
a
that
physical
fear.
element.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think what a lot of people's issues around fear is that they always want something to happen before they bust through the fear. Like,
That's a good point.
okay, when I find somebody, then I'll be happy in a relationship.
Right.
Or when my business reaches um,
Mm,
10K months, then I'll invest in what I want to invest in.
right.
Instead of realizing that you have to make things happen that you want to happen, and you're not going to feel any different when that thing happens. It's not going to be,
Mm,
if you're uncomfortable making an investment now, you're still going to be uncomfortable making it later. You know what I
very
mean?
true.
Yeah, I have found that a lot, like true for myself, that it really doesn't end up being about the money, and it really doesn't end up being about um I feel like we're waiting, sometimes we're just waiting for something to show us like evidence or proof, where we actually have to be the one to find the evidence,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
And what you said was super important too, about waiting until like there's always
Yeah,
like, I'm waiting until things are better to feel better. I'm waiting on that marriage, or that
yeah,
that person. I'm waiting on my business. I'm waiting on that career. I'm waiting on, always waiting. And then that creates like a means to an end.
yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with having means to an end in some regards. Like if you're building your business because you want if you're building your business while having a career so it can support and fuel your business, then if you look at your career as a means to an end, that's okay, because it is giving you something that you need to get to your goal, which is building your business.
yeah,
However, if you're always looking to something else and waiting for that thing to be fulfilled, to feel better, to feel grateful, or to feel joy, or to feel love, then you're always going to be chasing something else.
you will, because when that comes, you're still going to feel the same way.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people say it, when they make their first 7 figures, it does not feel any different. Like
Really.
it doesn't, like they just, it's like you you have to, that's why it's so important to work on the inner work now, and to always continue to do it now.
Mhm.
I think things really come up in life, like what happened, this week to me, in terms of like, people saying things, because it was preparing me for something much bigger. You know what I mean? If
Right.
I take things personal from, some stuff via social media, how am I going to feel if I, maybe run a book, like, have a book, and then people start criticizing my book,
Right.
or I get onto a show and they start criticizing the way I look and everything. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens to us around fear are all tests. They're testing you, like, how bad do you want this, and prove to me that you can do this, because
Mm.
I'm not giving you any more until, if you have a fear around being in a relationship that's really loving and trusting, then you have to start being like loving and trusting now. How am I supposed to know that? You need to prove it, that that's really, really what you want. You need to start being a loving partner now before send yourself flowers,
Right.
write yourself a letter, you know, make some room in it. You have to believe that it's true. Like why am I going to bring a person to you? Why is God or the universe or whatever your source is, like, why are they going to bring somebody to you if like you don't even believe it yourself?
Right. Or if you're not even treating yourself the way you would want that person to treat
Be
you.
treated. Yeah, like you treat other people a certain way, but you want somebody to treat you differently.
Right.
I
Right.
see it a lot. Like I coach a lot of women who want men and they want to manifest relationships, or not even, any type of person, and I find that one of the biggest things is that they have the fear of even embodying the fact of having a relationship. And so they do the things that would be opposite of a relationship, like go out, get hammered, like, you know what I mean? Just like that type of stuff, where they're really like closing them off to actually meeting somebody, not like prepping themselves to be in a loving, caring relationship if that's what they want, you
Right.
know? So
Right.
not to say you can't. I mean, I met Walt at a bar on a Tuesday, but you know what I mean. But I also primed myself to meet him. Like I was already starting to manifest and embody the person who is already in a relationship by being very cautious about the dates that I was going on, making
Mhm.
room for them in my environment, starting to really, really work on my inner work to know that I'm worthy of a relationship and somebody loving me so much.
Mm. Right. 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 And I also feel I like that you said send yourself flowers, and
I've done it.
just I haven't done that yet, and that's something I've been wanting to do. So I'm going to do that because
That is
first of all,
such
I
a
love
great way to
flowers.
manifest, and write
Yeah.
on the card like what you would want them to like say to you. Like if this is your boo, like what are they saying?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
I
I did
love that.
it, and Walt actually sent me flowers like a month after we started dating, and yeah, it was so sweet. I was like, oh,
That's beautiful.
that's his heart.
That's really beautiful. It's like just becoming the wife before you are the wife, or becoming the husband before you
Exactly.
are the
Yeah, the
husband.
partner before you're the partner, and be the example. In order to receive love, we have to give love first. So,
Right.
the another thing I always tell to like manifest is, maybe clearing out a drawer and making sure that you have like two end tables on your bed, because if you only have one, then you're not really making room for another person to put their stuff on
Mm.
the bed, like their watch, their book, whatever. And then my last hack I did was like picking out a coffee mug or something like that they're going to use when they start to come to your house, and not using it until there's a person that it's there, and it's like for that person, but you don't know who they are yet.
Mm. Hmm. Did you also manifest the way he looked? Did you manifest the way he would treat you? I think that makes sense with the flowers, but I'd love to
Yeah,
know, like, did you manifest his appearance, like his personality?
I love this. And by the way, I have a Manifest Your Forever relationship. It's only $19, like masterclass for anyone who's interested. DM me,
Mhm.
or it's in the link in my bio. But what I say in this masterclass, what I teach is um, exactly like from start to finish how I manifest. But to answer your questions, is when you're manifesting a man, you really just manifest the feeling of them. And so, yes, I did have a vision board, and it ended up being similar pictures of Walt, of what Walt looks like, because my natural taste is, tall, dark, and handsome with, facial hair and scruffy. Like that's what I was going for. And so that is what was in my vision board pictures. But it's not really like manifesting what they look like. You're manifesting the feeling of like what they're going to give you. So I
Mm.
remember like manifesting a feeling of like them like putting their hands on my face and kissing me and like having butterflies. I manifested a feeling of like just having fun on vacation with them. So like really so when you visualize something, that's like a step in manifestation. Like, oh, okay, I see it. I see us on vacation together, but it's further of like taking it like, how do I feel in this situation? I feel loved. I support it. I feel
Mhm.
supported. I feel adored. And like trying to get those, conjuring up those warm feelings now and knowing that they're coming.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was just a bonus that it ended up actually looking like him. And then the last thing I say is when you do have a vision board, and you're manifesting a relationship, make sure that there's two people, because you don't want to manifest like a man by himself or like a selfish man,
Mm.
or somebody too like independent who doesn't want to compromise. I think it's much easier to conjure up the feelings of a relationship by looking at two people together in a picture.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So with so bringing it back to moving from fear to embodying, faith and knowing that that would come, what did you do daily? Because one of the things that I've seen in myself and in my clients is that it's not just doing it once. It's because there's so much of our own brain going down familiar pathways that cause us to go right back into the fear, right back into the same behaviors and the same habits that got us to where we were. And what type of routines would you say that would benefit people so they can continue to stay in faith, so they can continue to stay in knowing that their manifestations will come forward in their business or in their life?
Yeah. That's great questions. And like actions for them to take. So I feel I'm definitely like an extreme case. This is what I do for a living.
Mm.
And so I don't want anyone to think that like you have to do what I do. But I do have a pretty strict routine that I do daily, mostly daily. Do I do it every single day on the day? And like, no, like, of course, there's days where I wake up and it's not, and I don't do my routine. But for the most part, I have a morning routine, a workout routine, and a night routine. So, my morning routine, I wake up, the first thing I do is I say a mantra, and I say my current mantra, which I usually use for about 3 to 4 months, is I'm living a happy and healthy life, and everything I do is making me a millionaire.
Mm.
That's been my mantra. So that is the first thing I do. I listen to binaural beats in the morning for 7 minutes. They're wealth binaural beats, but there's all sorts of binaural beats that you can listen to for stress, anxiety, happiness, abundance. I listen to the wealth ones and I journal. And in journal, I bring in gratitude. So I want to start my day off feeling into gratitude, and I also want to celebrate wins from the day before. So I write down what are the few things, and you guys can actually go on Amazon and get the 5 minute journal if journaling is something that's hard for you. It's a really good guide and it's super quick. So I do a version of this. And so I do journaling, then I go into meditation. I meditate for 10 to 20 minutes, and then I go into manifestation. So that's when I'm really visualizing like what's going on, and I feel like the whole process by meditating and manifesting is, it makes you have the faith because you're getting into the vibration of what you want now versus
Mhm.
before it happens, like what we were talking about before. And then I end with affirmations. And then the end of the night I do subliminal messaging and meditation. And in the middle of my day, whereas some people will like, they'll just wake up, they'll do a 10-minute meditation, then they'll go on for the day and like that's all they do. Like I can't express like it enough, like how it's almost like an addiction for me, but I constantly am into self-development because I need that to keep me going as a business entrepreneur.
Nice.
So like when I'm working out, I'm not listening to music. Sometimes when I'm strength training, I'll listen to music, but for the most part, I am listening to motivational speeches. Like I'm obsessed with Tony Robbins. I'm obsessed with Gwen, who she does a ton of stuff. Like there's so many amazing people. I don't know if you know Shika. Oh my God, is it Shika Tika?
I do not.
Oh, she's great. She talks a lot about astrology and energy, and so I listen to a lot of motivational things, and then the same with when I'm driving and podcasts. So it's like I rarely allow anything to come into my subconscious that is going
Mhm.
to hinder my fears. Like I am
Yeah.
constantly just staying allowing myself to be motivated into faith, like into keeping the
Mhm. Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then go on. But again,
That's
I'm an
super
extreme
important.
case, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much my routine almost every day.
Mhm. That's really important. And I feel like the audience can benefit from hearing that, like really paying attention to what you allow in your space and your energy in your ears. What are you
Mhm.
allowing yourself to listen to? And each time you listen to something, it does create a feeling in you, and you may start to respond to fears or emotions that don't really belong to you.
Mhm.
So being careful about what television programs you watch, being careful about how much news you allow yourself to listen to. And that's one thing that I've done, is making sure that I'm careful about what news outlets I
I
listen
don't
to.
watch the news at all.
Right.
Not even a
Because
little bit. Most
yeah,
honestly, most very successful manifestation and spiritual coaches do not watch the news.
it's
And
too much. It's
people think
very
that that's
negative.
stuff. Like, how are you going to know what's going on? Like, trust me, I know about everything because
Right.
it's impossible to not find out from a family member,
Right.
scrolling on social media. Like, you'll find out if you have to. But yeah,
Right.
I don't ever
Right.
watch the news because if I did, what the news creates is worry for other people. And as light
Mhm.
workers, we really need to keep the light in ourselves because that is how we're able to spread more light. It's not by getting, I mean, all of the stuff that happened with Israel and stuff, and everybody is like just, wanting to just go down a rabbit hole, and that doesn't help them. Like, we need to
Right.
be the light in these situations and still continue to spread love and awareness. And um, yeah, yeah.
Right. 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 It can be very easy to be addicted to negativity because
Mhm.
it's a great thing to,
Oh, I
not
have
great.
family members who are
Yeah.
totally addicted to it, big
Right.
time. That's all they
Right.
do. It's so awful, and they're always the ones who always have so many issues.
Right. It's unfortunate because I think Dispenza, he said this, those
I love
negativity is
Joe.
very addictive. Like that feeling, that adrenaline of like having something to blame, and it gives your ego a boost because it gives you some sort of superiority feeling, where you're like, okay, this is bad, that's bad, what this person did is bad, this situation is bad. It's like it gives you some sort of a boost in moral character or confidence. And then now you're feeling like above, and then it's causing more chaos, really, because now you're constantly looking at, how can I find a way to make something outside of me less than,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when it comes to, again, embodying faith and knowing that we can walk in a way where we're going more toward our dreams, more toward our desires, more toward our dream life, it really bottles down to, how are we taking care of our internal world? Who are we allowing into our space? What information are we allowing into our space?
Oh
And
my
what are
God.
we
I have a
doing?
whole module on that,
Yeah,
finding aligned friendships and like getting rid and releasing like friendships, family relationships, partners that just weigh us down
right, right.
and
And
can add to the fear.
right. And making sure that we walk our walk too, and walk our talk and talk our walk, like making sure that we are actually doing the practices every day, and being mindful of what we're also like what type of influencers we're following, or what type of
Mhm.
gurus we're following. Like, are they saying and doing what they're saying?
Yeah.
So we're going to end this right now. I just want to let people know where they can find you, Alexis.
Yeah, you can find me at Manifest with Alexis on Instagram or Alexis Amato on Facebook. And I also have a podcast called The Sip and Vibe, all about manifestation and business. And I also add travel in there as well because I travel a lot.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much, Alexis. And
Thank
if anybody
you.
wants to work with me, if you want more information, my name is Radiance Thompson. As you can see, I help leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals overcome patterns of self-sabotage and self-sacrifice so they can harness their potential, own their gifts, live their purpose, and serve at their highest capacity. So you can click on the link. There'll be a link there so you can book a discovery call with me and we can work through creating that dream life for you. And thank you for coming on, Alexis. It took us a little bit of back and forth for us to like
I
finally
know,
find
we
a
finally
day and
did. I'm
time,
so proud of us.
but we did it.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening. And this is us saying goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.